Revealed, how a billionaire CEO's heartwarming love for his maid transformed their lives forever. In Silicon Valley, where wealth is flaunted and power is revered, Ben Thompson stood atop that glittering mountain as the affluent CEO of a leading tech firm. But beneath the tailored suits and the constant laughter at lavish parties, a deep-seated emptiness lay hidden. Each polished smile felt more like an elaborate mask than a true reflection of his heart. Ben felt utterly alone, surrounded by the trappings of success, yearning for something all-consuming and real. One day, as he strolled through the community park, searching for solace amidst the vibrant chaos, he spotted her. Maria, a 35-year-old maid, tirelessly cleaning up after a local event. The sun cast a warm glow around her, illuminating her unwavering determination as she picked up paper cups and leftover pizza crusts. Children splashed joyfully in a nearby fountain, laughter ringing out like music. In that moment, Ben was captivated by something genuine, something that stirred something long dormant within him. He approached with a mixture of curiosity and admiration, striking up a conversation that felt both easy and monumental. Her laugh, genuine and bright, broke through the walls he had built around himself. Maria spoke with a fierce devotion about her multiple jobs, how she juggled responsibilities to provide for her family. Ben felt an immediate connection, like two distant stars aligning against all odds. In an instant, their contrasting worlds collided, forever changing the trajectory of their lives. As their bond flourished, it sent ripples through their tight-knit community. Whispers started in the local diner. Ben, the billionaire CEO, being spotted sharing coffees and laughter with a maid. The chatter morphed into discussions about privilege, aspirations, and the true American dream. Ben had entered a reality far different from his own plush existence, forged in hard work and resilience. The everyday struggles that Maria faced, the stress of financial instability, painted a new world for him, one filled with emotional depth and humanity that he could no longer ignore, but as their friendship grew, so did the scrutiny. Maria's husband faced a crisis, the weight of his PTSD testing their already fragile stability. Tension mounted, and when rumors about Ben and Maria's relationship began circulating, it threatened to upend everything. Would he stand by her as she faced the judgment of those who seldom ventured beyond the comforts of their own privilege? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In a moment of desperation, Ben found himself wrestling with fear and judgment. He never anticipated how deeply he would care for Maria, how fiercely he wanted to protect her. But standing at the crossroads of societal expectations and profound connection made his heart pound in a way it had never done before. As solutions clashed with pressures, the stakes continued to rise, leaving both Ben and Maria questioning whether their bond could withstand the storm. Would he be brave enough to advocate for the woman who opened his heart to something real, or would the world pull them apart? In that moment of uncertainty, as everything hung in the balance, the question lingered: could love truly transcend the barriers of wealth and social expectation? Ben sat in his luxurious office, the skyline of Silicon Valley tinted orange as the sun set. The view was breathtaking, but his mind drifted far from the towering buildings and flashing lights. It lingered instead on Maria. Her laughter was still echoing in his ears, a melody of hope that punctured through the noise of his affluent life. Just a week ago, their conversations were light, filled with laughter, but suddenly the weight of the world felt heavier. He had left the last gathering, the charity gala, earlier than expected. He couldn't bear the stares, the whispers that hissed like serpents in the shadows. The uncertainty gnawed at him as much as the delightful anticipation of seeing her again. But would people really understand? Could he step into her world without being absorbed by the judgments of his own? The following day, Ben found himself back at the park. Each step felt like a journey across unfamiliar territory. What if someone saw him? What if rumors spiraled out of control? He pushed those thoughts aside, convincing himself that the risk of losing Maria was far greater than the threat of public scrutiny. As he neared the fountain, he spotted her immediately. Maria was helping a group of children chase after bubbles, her smile illuminating their playful chaos. "Hey," he greeted, his voice softer than usual. She turned, and the warmth of her gaze made his heart swell. "Ben. I didn't expect to see you here. I couldn't stay away." He took a seat on the nearby bench, an uninvited sound echoing the desires he felt. They chatted freely at first about their lives, silly stories, and dreams. But soon, an undercurrent of seriousness seeped into their conversation. "Things are a little rough at home," Maria admitted, biting her lip, eyes clouding over. "Carlos has good days and bad days. Lately, it's been tougher." Ben felt a pang in his chest. He understood the price of battling unseen demons, but he had no idea how deep Maria's struggles ran. He wanted to help but was lost for words. Maybe he hesitated, maybe I could help. I could introduce him to a therapist or some resources. I mean, I could look for someone who specializes in PTSD. She looked at him, hope flashing across her face before being replaced by caution. "You don't have to. It's complicated. Maria, please, if there's any way I can help." He nearly reached out but halted, respecting the boundary that seemed imperative. It could get tricky with Carlos. He might not take it well, you know. Her voice trembled, a mix of vulnerability and strength. "What if I also sat down and talked to him?" "I could do that." She shook her head, a soft smile teasing her lips. "You have a busy life, Ben. This is not something you want to take on. But I care about you, Maria. You and Carlos. I'm more than willing to step in." A beat passed as her eyes searched his. "Don't you think it's strange?" she murmured. "A billionaire helping a maid and her husband? People will talk." He leaned forward, his voice dipped in urgency. Let them talk. I refuse to hide what matters to me." In that instant, their worlds pressed closer together. It wasn't just about standing up for her, it was about redefining what love looked like beyond the glaring spotlight of judgment that as days passed. Ben found himself more entrenched in Maria's life, helping her find resources while their feelings deepened. Yet, the walls around them were beginning to close in. Rumors festered, gossip was at an all-time high, and he wondered if this beautiful connection could survive the storm that was brewing. Could it withstand the fallout? Could they truly fight against the tides of public opinion? Almost instinctively, he sent her a text, "Can we meet? I think we need to talk." And with that, a foreshadowed tempest loomed. What would it reveal? Would their love endure, or was it destined to be yet another casualty of society's harsh judgments? Ben sat in his car outside Maria's building, the engine humming softly like a distant heartbeat. His thoughts swirled, an endless loop of what-ifs. What if Carlos reacted the way she feared? What if the weight of judgment became too heavy? He had chosen this path willingly, yet with every passing moment, uncertainty clawed at his resolve. He finally stepped out, leaving the safety of his luxury vehicle behind. The walk to her front door felt longer than usual, each step an echo of the fear and hope intertwined within him. When he knocked, it felt as if the world stood still. "Ben." Maria greeted him warmly, her smile transforming the tension in the air. "Hey," he replied, taking a deep breath. "Thanks for seeing me." "Of course. Come in." She stepped aside, welcoming him into her cozy apartment. It was a stark contrast to the opulence he was accustomed to, but it felt warm, stuffed with memories, framed photographs of her family, and tokens from a life that had not always been easy. "Your place is lovely," he said, genuinely appreciating the simplicity of it. "Thanks," she smiled, a light blush spreading over her cheeks. They settled onto a modest couch, the air still brimming with unspoken tension. Ben could feel the gravity of their circumstances pressing against them. "About what we discussed," he began slowly, "I think I can help Carlos. We could approach it together. She sighed, a hint of worry etched into her brow. Ben, I appreciate the offer, but you don't know how complicated things can get. I want to know, he insisted. I want to understand what he is going through. Maria hesitated. You really don't have to. I do, he interrupted gently. It's not just about helping him. It's about being there for you too. A soft silence hung between them. Maria's eyes glimmered with unshed tears, and Ben's heart raced. He added, I'm not scared of the rumors, Maria. You're worth it. Her expression softened. You say that, but you don't know what it's like. The judgment can be suffocating. He reached for her hand, their fingers intertwining naturally. That's why I want to do this. Together, we can fight against the chaos, the judgment. We can confront it. Maria looked down, wrestling with emotions he could feel radiating from her. You're so different from anyone I've met. I wish things were simpler. They never are, he stated, but I know we can make it work. It will take time, and it will be tough, but the connection we have, it's real. She finally met his gaze, and he felt a flicker of hope ignite. What if Carlos says no? What if he shuts me out? Her voice trembled, a mixture of fear and longing surfacing. Then we'll figure it out together, he vowed, squeezing her hand gently. We'll keep trying until something changes. The intensity of the moment swept them away as the weight of uncertainty felt lighter beneath the gravity of their shared resolve. With newfound determination lighting up Maria's eyes, she whispered, Okay, let us try. They both knew the path ahead wouldn't be easy, but the thought of tackling it as a team filled Ben with optimism. As they sat there, entwined in their moment, the outside world faded. Suddenly, a loud knock at the door disrupted their peace. Startled, Maria's eyes widened. Who could that be? Ben's heart raced. I don't know, but we need to be ready for anything. They exchanged a knowing glance that held both fear and strength. The truth of their situation hung heavily in the air, and they braced themselves for whatever was about to unfold. What would the visitor bring to their fragile moment? Would it be help, or another layer of complication? The knock came again, louder this time, shaking both of them from their bubble of reassuring whispers. Ben's heart pounded like a drum. The warmth of the moment they just shared felt chilly in an instant. Who do you think it is? Maria asked, her voice barely above a whisper, laced with anxiety. Ben shook his head, scanning the small entryway, the door a barrier between them and a future that felt uncertain at best. We'll find out, he replied, forcing confidence into his tone. Taking a deep breath, Maria stood. Her movements were hesitant, the grace of a dancer caught on the wrong foot. Ben felt an overwhelming urge to shield her from whatever lay beyond that door, but he knew he couldn't. Not this time. Stay behind me, he suggested, as if he could ward off whatever shadow had come to visit. He stepped forward, carefully pulling the door open. What greeted them was as unexpected as it was unwelcome. Standing in the doorway was Carlos, Maria's brother, a tall figure with an intense gaze. At first glance, he looked harmless, but the tension in his shoulders told a different story. His eyes darted between Ben and Maria, seething with anger and confusion. Maria, what is going on here? Carlos's voice was low, each word a weighty accusation. Who is this guy? Carlos, wait. Maria interjected, her hands raised in a placating gesture. It's not what you think. Ben felt the blood drain from his face. He opened his mouth to speak, to explain, but the words vanished like smoke. Carlos stepped closer, the air thick with mistrust and protectiveness. This guy shows up, and you're just, what? Happily hanging out? He spat, his eyes narrowing. You don't even know him. Stop. Maria pleaded, stepping between them. He is here to help. You don't understand what we're facing. Please, just listen. Frustration flared within Carlos. Help? By playing house while I'm trying to figure out how to keep our lives together. You think this is fair? Ben could see Maria wavering, the storm of her brother's emotions crashing against the fragile resolve they'd just built. He stepped in again, feeling the weight of the moment hanging in the air. Carlos, I get that you're upset. But we're all in this together. I want to help you too. Help? Carlos chuckled bitterly. You think you can waltz in here and act like you know what's best for my sister? She has enough on her plate without you complicating things. Ben clenched his jaw. He needed to connect with Carlos, to unveil the truth buried beneath the anger. I'm not here to complicate anything, then leave. Carlos shot back, his voice rising. Before you make things even worse. Maria's eyes widened, and in that moment, everything hung in the balance. Ben felt his chest tighten. He couldn't just walk away, not now. Carlos, please. Maria's voice quivered. You need to understand. Ben wants to help us face what's coming. Together. The silence that followed was thick with tension. The future felt precarious, and Ben could see in Carlos's expression that this was just about him protecting Maria. It was about fear. Fear of losing her, fear of losing everything they'd fought for. Why can't this be easy? Maria's whisper cracked through the silence, desperation lacing her words. Ben stood firm, the weight of the moment shifting. Because nothing worth fighting for ever is, he replied quietly, looking at Carlos. But I promise you, I'm here for both of you. This statement seemed to hang in the air, and for just a second, there was a flicker of uncertainty in Carlos's eyes. But as quickly as it came, it vanished. I need you to choose, Maria, Carlos said, his voice firm yet breaking. Him or us? The question cut right through the tension-filled space, echoing like a tolling bell for what felt like a lifetime. Ben's heart sank, and he exchanged a glance with Maria, who looked trapped between two worlds. What will she decide? The question loomed heavily in the air, thick with unspoken implications. Would she stand with her family, or would she choose the love she had begun to acknowledge? Maria's eyes darted between Ben and Carlos, a whirlwind of emotions swirling inside her. The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. It felt as if the walls of the tiny entryway were closing in. Each heartbeat echoed like a drum, marking the countdown to a choice that could change everything. Maria. Carlos's voice was softer now, desperation creeping into every word. I just want what's best for you. I've given everything to keep our family safe. Please don't throw it away for a guy you barely know. Ben felt the ache in his chest pull tighter. How could he explain his feelings to Carlos? How could he convince him that it wasn't just about him? He cared about both of them, their futures tangled together like threads in a tapestry. He took a step closer to Maria, wanting to show her he was there, standing beside her. Carlos, Ben said, trying to keep his voice steady. I know you're scared. I get it. But Maria deserves to make her own choices. We're not kids anymore. The weight of his words hung in the air, a challenge thrown out with a shaky resolve. Maria's gaze flickered to Ben, searching for reassurance, but then it shifted back to her brother, this protector who had fought battles on her behalf. You don't understand, she whispered, her voice trembling. We're facing something bigger than us. I can't ignore that. Carlos let out a sharp breath, frustration mingling with hurt. So you're just going to push me away? Push away our family? It's not just about you anymore, Maria. His voice cracked at the end, stripping away the bravado to reveal raw, pulsing fear. Tears pricked at the corners of Maria's eyes. She was stuck between loyalty and love, and every second ticked by like a doomsday clock. You're my brother. I love you. But I'm not a child anymore. She turned to Ben, her voice suddenly fierce. And I can't just give up on myself. On us. Ben felt a flicker of hope ignite in his chest. He reached out, gently grabbing Maria's hand, intertwining their fingers as if in solidarity. He didn't want to create division, he wanted to build bridges. "Whatever happens, we'll face it together, Maria," he said, his voice low and steady. "You can choose love, you don't have to choose between family and me." Carlos stiffened, the tension in the room shifting suddenly, like the air thickening into something tangible. "What happens when you're not around anymore? What then? You'll leave her just like Dad left us?" The words hit Maria like a slap to the face. She flinched, stepping back slightly as the guilt washed over her. "That's not fair, Carlos. He's not like Dad." Carlos shouted, frustration spilling over. "You don't even know what it's like to be alone, to struggle. Who knows if this guy will be here tomorrow?" Ben inhaled sharply, his heart racing at the implications of Carlos's words. "Listen, Carlos," he began, trying to keep calm. "You can't judge me based on your past exactly." Carlos cut him off, eyes blazing. "You don't know what we've been through. You don't know how to fight for family." Maria's mind raced. The stakes were impossibly high. She opened her mouth, ready to defend Ben, but she faltered. It wasn't just about her and Ben. It was about everything that had shaped their lives, the loss, the struggle, the fight to keep what was left of their family whole. In the throbbing silence, Maria felt the weight of expectations, choices, and love pressed down on her. She felt like a tightrope walker daring to take that crucial step forward, or back into the shadows of what she knew. "Please, Maria," Carlos's voice cracked as he stepped closer, vulnerability naked in his eyes. "Help me protect what we have left." The question hung in the air once again, now filled with an urgency that she couldn't ignore. What would she choose? And at what cost? "Maria." Ben's voice was laced with worry, pulling her back to the moment. "Who am I?" she whispered to herself, the realization hitting like a tidal wave. "What do I really want?" And just as the realization surfaced, the front door creaked open again, revealing a figure silhouetted against the fading light. A stranger bearing news that might change everything again. Maria's breath caught in her throat. What now? The figure stepped forward, spilling into the dimly lit entryway with an air of confidence mixed with an undeniable tension. Maria squinted, trying to make sense of the silhouette, but her heart raced. The stranger's face emerged from the shadow's sharp features, piercing blue eyes that scanned the room as if it held the answers to a riddle he had been trying to solve his whole life. "Excuse me," he said, his voice smooth yet firm, cutting through the fraught air. "I'm looking for Maria Alvarado." Maria's heart skipped a beat. How did he know her name? She glanced at Carlos, who had gone pale, and then at Ben, whose face mirrored her concern. "I'm Maria," she stammered, her voice barely escaping her lips. "I'm Alex Thorne," he replied, extending a hand. "I have something important to discuss with you." "Why?" She took a hesitant step back, nerves bubbling within her. "I don't know you." Alex's expression softened. "I understand this might seem strange, but trust me. It's about your future." His gaze darted toward Carlos and Ben, who were both eyeing him with suspicion. "In private, if you don't mind. This isn't a discussion for everyone. Why can't you just tell me here?" Carlos demanded, stepping forward. Protectiveness radiated off him. "What do you want with my sister?" "I assure you, it's nothing sinister," Alex said, his calm demeanor unwavering. "I know how it looks, but I have a proposition that could change everything for your family. I just need a few moments." Maria's mind flicked through 1,000 thoughts. Change everything? She felt trapped between a cousin whose entire existence had been a tangled mess of loyalty and love, and a stranger who claimed to be offering a doorway to something better. "Maria, don't," Carlos started, but Ben put a hand on his shoulder. Let her hear him out. The tiny entryway felt charged with unresolved emotions, yet Maria felt a strange pull toward Alex, a curiosity igniting within her. "I'd like to hear what you have to say," she said softly, sensing the tension in her brother but needing to know where this would lead. Alex nodded, relief flashing across his features. Thank you. Can we step outside? I promise it will be worth your time. The streetlights glowed softly outside, casting an orange hue against the dim evening. As Maria stepped out onto the porch with Alex, she felt the weight of Carlos's gaze still boring into her back. The night air was crisp, tinged with the scent of impending rain, and for a moment, she felt free. What is this about? Maria asked, her voice steady now, at least on the surface. Your life is about to change, Maria. I can offer you an opportunity to escape everything you're tied to at home. I know about your struggles, your hardships. I believe you have the potential to do great things. He paused, his eyes searching hers. I want to help you. Her heart raced again. Why? Because I see talent and determination in you. I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe in you. This is a rare chance, an internship that could elevate your future. An internship? The word sounded so mundane compared to how monumental this felt. Why me? Your brother thinks you need a protector. But the truth is, you need to protect yourself and your dreams. His words rang true, lighting something within her. Every word he said brushed against the fears she carried deep inside, expectations to settle, a life of safety versus the impulse to break free and soar. It felt like a bold choice, but would she be strong enough to follow through? As the world paused around her, Maria sensed Carlos behind her, the tension still tightening in the air. What about my family? She whispered, her heart torn. Alex's gaze softened. Sometimes, stepping into the unknown is the only way to truly find yourself. Make the choice that serves your heart. The weight of his words was heavy on her. She could choose a path filled with uncertainty, but what if the risk was the key to her liberation? I need to think, Maria finally said as Alex's offer hung in the air like a palpable thread connecting their futures. Of course, he replied, a knowing look in his eyes. But I hope you'll trust yourself enough to grasp this opportunity. I'll be waiting. As he turned to leave, Maria felt the gravity of her decision swirling around her. What path would she choose, and would it spark the change she desperately sought? And as she turned back toward the door, she saw Ben and Carlos standing there, their expressions a mix of confusion and concern. Which was the right choice? Would she take that leap into the unknown, or would she retreat to the safety of the familiar? The night hung heavy with unanswered questions, and Maria felt herself standing at the precipice of change. What would she decide? Maria stood at the cusp of a decision, the night air heavy with uncertainty. Her brother Carlos was still watching her, concern etching deeper lines on his young face. Ben shuffled his feet, glancing between Maria and the door, as if he could physically sense the clash of worlds within her. What did he want? Carlos asked, his voice low, pressing against her like a weight. Did he say anything else? He mentioned an internship, Maria replied, struggling to find her balance. An opportunity. He thinks I have potential. Her thoughts staggered back to Alex's words, his confidence in her sparking a flicker of hope too bright to ignore. Carlos shook his head, skepticism radiating off him. What does he know about your potential that we don't? You have a good life here, Maria. You don't need some random guy promising you things. But what if he is right? Her voice came out stronger than she felt. What if this could lead to more than just this? She gestured around at their small, cluttered home, dust motes dancing in the soft glow of the outdoor light. Ben spoke up, attempting to bridge the gap. You're not just anyone, Maria. You're family. But being family doesn't mean you have to stay confined. It's okay to want to see what else is out there. The warmth in his voice eased some of her tension, but Maria's heart still raced with every heartbeat. What if stepping out meant leaving you both behind? She glanced from Ben to Carlos, worry pooling in her chest. It's not about leaving us, Carlos interjected, anger seeping into his tone. It's about you getting caught up in something you don't fully understand. What if he's just playing mind games? But Maria bit her lip, contemplating the tug inside her. Alex believed in her. That moment felt electric. She could almost taste freedom. I need to know. I won't know unless I take the chance. Even if it means risking everything we've built. Carlos' voice cracked, a testament to the fear that gripped him tightly. This is about my future, Carlos. She exclaimed, her heart pounding. Why can't you see that? The silence that followed was thick. It felt like a countdown clock was ticking away, seconds dwindling until Maria had to make a choice. It was a silent plea, an understanding echoing in the depths of her heart. I won't let you down, Maria whispered, each word a promise tied with hope and fear. But I need to follow this. I need to see where it leads. Carlos ran a hand through his hair, visibly frustrated but unable to mask the flicker of understanding in his eyes. You better think this through. I'll support whatever you choose, just, don't say I didn't warn you. And I'll always be here, Ben added, his voice a gentle reminder that no matter what decision she made, she had people behind her. Maria took a deep breath and nodded, the weight of their words sinking in. Okay, she replied. I'll talk to him. I'll find out everything I can. She turned back toward the porch, where shadows lingered along the edges, but the night felt different now. It was charged with possibilities, and she resolved to confront her fears head-on. Alex had planted a seed of curiosity within her, and she was determined to explore it. As she stepped back inside, a soft rain began to patter against the roof, tapping gently like a metronome of decisions yet to come. Carlos and Ben exchanged glances, their previous tension easing just slightly, but Maria was already lost in her thoughts. What would she learn from Alex? Would the internship lead her to the escape she yearned for, or would it unravel the delicate threads of loyalty and love she held dear? In that moment, new questions hovered in the air like the scent of rain. Would she find the strength to chase her dreams, or would she realize that freedom comes with its own price? As she settled into a chair at the table, her mind buzzing with thoughts of the unknown, she couldn't help but reflect on one stark truth: change was on the horizon. But was she truly ready to embrace it? The sound of the door creaking open drew her attention. Alex stepped back onto the porch, his silhouette now framed by the glow of the lights. Maria, he called gently, his voice revealing a hint of urgency. I need to explain why this opportunity is so important, and you deserve to know everything. With her heart racing once more, she prepared herself for what came next. Would this be the moment that changed her forever? Maria held her breath as Alex stepped closer, the soft rain wrapping around him like a veil. He looked more serious than before, and she sensed that this wasn't just about a job, it was about something bigger. Sit down, he said gently, nodding toward the table where she had just been lost in thought. Please. I want you to really understand what this can mean for you. She obeyed, the chair creaking under her weight, and motioned for him to continue. The tension in her chest was undeniable, but the fire of curiosity was burning brighter. There's more to this internship than simply gaining experience, he started, his tone lowering as if he were sharing a secret. It's a chance to be part of something innovative. A project that could change how we view, well, everything. His eyes sparkled with enthusiasm, invoking a shimmer of hope within her. Your voice, your ideas, they matter. You have a fresh perspective. I appreciate that you think so, Maria replied, her heart racing. But can it really lead to something? I mean, can I make a difference? Alex leaned forward, his intensity increasing. Yes, absolutely. But it's not just about making a difference, it's about making sure you find out who you are in the process. Most people don't even realize what they're capable of until they step out of their comfort zone. She felt her pulse quickening. Was he right? Was this the nudge she needed? But, what if I fail? What if I end up regretting it and losing everything? The truth is, he said, his voice softening, you could fail. But if you don't try, you'll never know what could have been. Imagine 10 years from now. Do you want to look back and feel trapped in regret? knowing you never took a chance. His words hit her like a surge of electricity, igniting a flame inside her. The thought of living a life defined by what-ifs filled her with dread. If she took this chance, it might just lead her to the person she was meant to be. What if it changes everything? She breathed, the weight of her decision crashing over her. It can, he replied earnestly, but only if you want it to. Change doesn't have to mean losing what you value, it can create new opportunities. You can still be part of your family's life while forging your own path. She looked down at the table, her mind racing. The warmth of his belief was comforting, yet the shadows of her worries loomed large. She wanted to believe him, to trust that this new path could be the light she desperately hoped to find. Can we go over the details together? She asked hesitantly, pushing the knots in her stomach to the back of her mind. I need to know if this is something I can really do. I need to see all sides of it because I won't let my family down. Of course, Alex said, his face brightening with a smile. We can map out everything. This isn't just a job, it's a partnership. As they started discussing the logistics, Maria felt a flutter of excitement. This wasn't just an internship, it was a chance to explore her identity beyond the confines of her home, yet, a worry still lingered. What if her decision clashed with her family's expectations, ultimately creating rifts she couldn't mend? She glanced toward the door, where Carlos's and Ben's concerned faces were etched in her memory, a weight on her heart. With each word exchanged with Alex, the excitement grew, yet she couldn't erase the unease settling in the pit of her stomach. Just then, the door burst open, and Carlos's voice called from the hallway. Maria! Are you in there? The shock of his interruption sent her heart plummeting. Would her brother come in and voice the concerns she hadn't yet confronted? Maria, are you okay? He pressed on, edging concern into every syllable. As she exchanged a glance with Alex, a wave of doubt surged. Was she ready to face them and explain everything she was about to take on? Because the truth was unfolding all around her, she was at the very precipice of change, but the decision to jump was still hers alone to make. Coming. She called back, feeling the weight of Alex's gaze pressing on her, urging her forward. In that moment, she realized she would have to brave whatever storm awaited her. Would she rise to the challenge, or would doubt pull her back into the shadows of her old life? She took a deep breath, steadied her resolve, and headed toward the door. Maria swung the door open, the sound of the latch echoing through the hallway like a sudden heartbeat. Carlos stood there, his brow furrowed with worry, his wet hair plastered against his forehead. Behind him, Ben loomed, arms crossed, his expression a mixture of confusion and concern. Hey, I was just. Maria stumbled, her voice trailing off as she searched for the right excuse. The excitement from her conversation with Alex faded momentarily, replaced by the weight of her brother's scrutinizing gaze. Talking to Alex? Carlos interjected, his tone sharper than she expected. You looked pretty serious in there. Yeah, we were, discussing some things about the internship, she replied, trying to mask the tremor in her voice with a casual shrug. I'm just weighing my options. Options? Ben echoed, stepping forward, his arms dropping to his sides. What options? The tension between them thickened as Maria felt a wave of vulnerability wash over her. Words danced on the tip of her tongue, battling her instincts to protect her dreams and the need to keep them in the light of her family's approval. What would they think of her wanting to pursue something outside the framework they had built? I'm thinking about taking the internship, with the startup, she said slowly, gauging their reactions. Silence settled over the hallway, the sound of raindrops in the background punctuating the tension. Carlos's mouth opened slightly, clearly taken aback. That's a huge step, Maria. Have you thought it through? I have. She snapped, frustration flooding her voice as her heart raced. I need something different. I can't just keep doing what everyone expects me to do. I want more for myself. Carlos exchanged a glance with Ben, who nodded in silent agreement. We just want to make sure you're not rushing into something you might regret later, Carlos said carefully, his voice softening. But if I don't try, Maria said, meeting her brother's gaze with determination, I'll regret not knowing if I could have made something of myself. This could change everything for me. Change is unpredictable, Maria, Ben added, his tone serious. What's happening now is safe. We're family. We can help you. There it was, the familiar tether of family loyalty clashing against her desire for personal freedom. Tears stung her eyes. I know you want to protect me, she said, her voice wavering. But this is my life, and I can't live it for you or anyone else. I appreciate your concern, but I need to forge my own path. The silence thickened, filled with unspoken understanding and the heaviness of vulnerability. Maria felt a painful wedge form between her heart's longing and her brother's expectations. Finally, Carlos stepped closer. Okay. But just promise us you'll keep us in the loop. No matter what happens. We want to support you. Of course, Maria replied, the lump in her throat easing a little. But I hope you can trust that I'm doing this for me. With a tentative smile, they shared a moment of connection. The love they shared felt raw, and it was clear they all cared deeply for one another, even if their paths were starting to diverge. As she started walking back toward Alex, her heart still pounded not from fear, but the swell of determination. She was ready to take the plunge. Yet, what would the first step of that journey look like? Would the excitement of the opportunity override the uncertainties that lay ahead? And what if her family wasn't the only thing she had to navigate? The path was winding, and answers weren't guaranteed. Just then, her phone buzzed in her pocket, tugging her attention away. The name on the screen made her heart skip. Alex had just sent a message. She halted, reading the words that flashed on her phone. Are you okay? We can pick up right where we left off, just let me know. Would she step forward into this new world, or would the shadows of her worries hold her back? Maria stood on the threshold of change, heart pounding as the storm of options swirled in her mind. The phone buzzed again, the soft, insistent vibration echoing her inner turmoil. Alex's message glowed in the dim light, a beacon of opportunity, urging her to leap into the unknown. Taking a deep breath, she turned back to her brother and Ben. I think I want to do this, she said, her voice steady now, firm in its resolve. I'm going to take the internship. Carlos's face fell, and for a fleeting moment, Maria's heart cracked under the weight of his disappointment. Maria, wait. You should really think this through. It's a big deal. I am thinking it through, she replied, her tone sharper now. This isn't just about me leaving you behind. I want to create something for myself, something real. Ben stepped forward, his expression softening. We understand that, Maria. We do. But you have the responsibility of your family's expectations. Expectations that could trap me in regret. She fired back, frustration bubbling over. I am grateful for everything you both have done, but I need to boldly choose my own path now. We can still support each other, but I can't be what you want me to be. I can only be myself. A thick silence hung in the air, permeating with the complexity of their bond. The three of them stood at odds, yet united by love. I just want you to be safe, Carlos whispered, vulnerability threading through his tone. I'll be safe, Maria promised, the fire in her belly igniting even stronger. But it won't always feel safe. It can't if I want to break free. Ben nodded, still watching her with admiration. You don't have to do this alone, Maria. We're here for you, every step of the way. Maria exhaled, her heart swelling at their support. But deep down, she felt the thrill of genuine independence echoing in her spirit. This was her moment, one she couldn't possibly let slip away. Okay, she said softer now, the resolve firm but generous. I'll keep you updated. You can help me along the way, but I can't let fear redefine every step I take. This is about finding myself. Seeing understanding dawn in Carlos's eyes brought relief, a nearly palpable shift as tension faded just a bit. Ben looked markedly proud, filled with support as he stood resolutely by her side. A possible future loomed ahead, shimmering with promise. Maria stepped toward the door, her heart racing with the thrill of adventure mingling with trepidation. "I'll talk to Alex. I want to see where this goes." The rain outside fell gently now, a soft drumming that blended with her heartbeat. The world felt alive, and she stepped out, glancing back at the two faces she adored. With courage sparking within her, she left the shelter of her family's expectations to embrace a future unfurling beneath her feet. As she met Alex outside, his eyes gleamed with hope, she felt her pulse quicken. "I'm ready," she declared. "Let's talk about this opportunity." With each word, she found a rhythm of purpose driving her forward. Alex smiled, a proud glint shining through. "I knew you'd feel compelled to leap. Together, we'll make magic happen." And just as Maria stepped onto the path toward her dreams, the whispers of doubt began to fade away. Each step signified not just a journey into her future, but also a commitment to herself, a promise that she would define her own identity, nurture her passions, and embrace change without fear. Behind her, Ben and Carlos shared a knowing glance, somber yet filled with love. They understood the journey ahead would be unknown, but they too were stepping into a new tomorrow, a shift that would sculpt their own stories. As Maria moved forward, a cascade of hope washed over her. She was no longer just a maid or just Carlos's sister, she was Maria. A woman who dared to chase her dreams, who wished to stand tall in her own light. This was the moment they had all waited for, the unveiling of a transformation that would resonate deep within their souls, echoing the belief that love and support could cross any obstacle. If you're feeling inspired by Maria's journey, then you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let others feel this transformation. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation unfold. This community is about love and resilience. Let's spread it together.